And welcome to EMS Underground. I am Charles McFall here with Tom Kamplain today, and we're going to be talking about a few things. We've got a new setup going on. We're working on a whole bunch of new projects again. You know, we started at one point, but we're working on getting it done. And welcome to keep that down. Well, I didn't mute any of the playbacks, so that's awesome on my part. Oh man, but
Way
Tom,
to go, Charles.
it's not a Charles show unless something gets a little bit sideways. So we're gonna be talking about a Paramedic Manifesto you sent to me,
Yeah.
and then followed up immediately by an article on paramedic shortages. So
Hey.
there's gonna be some education on my part on this manifesto. Of, to be honest, I don't understand most of it. When I do understand, I didn't quite agree with, but yeah. So we're going to be doing all that. Hello to everybody who's joining in. We're going to be doing, Tom's doing the sharing and the clickings. And then once he's done with that, I'll set up the cool shot where we're side by side and we'll get to there. Actually, okay, I'm digging that view that we got out there because you got the monitors and everything. We're
I'm
working
laid
on.
back, relaxed.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm chilled out. Until we get y'all worked up about it. About the topics today. And did I add my I did not add my laptop. It's still trying to add my laptop for some reason. So let me kill it and restart it. I had some back and forth issues on getting these cameras started today, but that's all on me. So yeah, go ahead, like this, share this, make sure everybody you know is watching or listening to this, because we got some important things to discuss today for sure. First off, the word manifesto has been used negatively so many different times, or by people who I don't know. Is that an educational word that has just has a negative connotation now, but it really shouldn't?
I guess it shouldn't, but to me it does. I mean,
Right?
That using that, I guess. Hey, but I guess it gets attention, and with marketing and stuff. You want to get attention. So it drew me in whenever I saw it. It made me stop and want to, hey, what is this?
Yeah. I when you shared it to me, the first thing I think of is the two times I've heard the word manifesto was the Unabomber.
Yeah.
And was it Karl Marx?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, which depending on your philosophy of thought, that that can be a bad thing. The Karl Marx thing can be a bad thing, but the Unabomber universally is a bad thing.
Well, I guess that could. It depends on what's.
Yeah,
to him it wasn't.
Yeah,
but
well, that's true.
To us it is. I mean, I don't believe in that, but that's the first thing that came to my mind was that manifesto, and I'm like, okay, what do we got? A terrorist group now in the EMS? I mean, what's going on?
So I'm going to pull it up once I get this connected, because I have the article, so I'm going to share the screen a little bit as I share this out. I hope everybody's liking the weather, because it's about to shift gears hard, isn't it, this weekend?
Is it?
All the medics, it's been nice and sunny, and today was overcast, and especially like 90% storms on Sunday.
Oh,
and
really?
Tomorrow I'm going out to the Warrior Dash with the event company to do the medic thing on the Warrior Dash. It's a mud run, and so rain's perfect for them.
Yeah.
I'm like, man,
Except for lightning.
I hope it holds up. Well, yeah, we don't want that.
And it's good for them, but not you. You don't want to be.
Exactly. I don't want to be sitting in the rain. I mean, I got a poncho. I've got my waterproof boots. I will live. But yeah, I was like, I want nice weather. But for everybody on the truck, I hope that you've been enjoying the nice weather, because it's knocking the pollen down. The rain will knock the pollen down, but
Is it though?
not really.
The pollen's killing me.
Apparently, we're a level. We're I don't know. We're level pinkish turquoise. I don't know what the levels are on these pollen things anymore.
Well, isn't like high like 400, and we've been like in 10,000 levels. Isn't that what they consider? Like high, anything over 400, and we've been like sitting around 10, 20,000.
It's been really, really high. Which I don't know. It's honestly, I get sniffles. I get some things. I mean, I'll get a little bit of what you had. Just like I sound like crap. I kind of feel bad. Barbara says Charles Apollo's deadly crazy. I wouldn't say deadly, would you? I mean,
It could be if you have asthma.
Yeah, or if you snorted it maybe directly.
Well, I think that's what we do anyway.
Well, it kind of feels that way, doesn't it? All right, let me see if I can't get this screen shared here. I've invited some people to watch this. All right, so that's up, and
So you fixed?
oh, I closed it.
No.
I did the wrong thing. There we go. All right, display, and it's got it. Okay, coolio. So I'm going to pull this up on the screen and pull it here. So this is from this new group that, honestly, I mean, I've looked at the whole website. I've read everything they have on that website, which took about 5 minutes. This is the longest thing they have on the website. It looks like crap, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not even talking about the actual breakdown of like what the group is about or anything else like that. I'm talking about if you're going to be jumping into something new, shouldn't you make it look the best possible way?
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, I jumped on the site and can I do it like a picture? No, I can't. I have to do it like that. So let's do it like that. All right, so if you look here, I mean, this is the whole site essentially, and it has a not secure, which is not a big deal. Google has gone really security nuts lately on the web, and even places like Apple.com and Amazon.com had not secure on it for a long time.
Secure only really matters if you are like sharing like personal information. If it's just you're going there to read something,
Yeah.
not too concerned about that.
Yeah. So,
but if you're asking me for my personal information, then I would be.
Yeah, and we've had to work on that on our site. Everybody's had to tackle that,
yes.
Across the board. So I just pointed out some people see it, and that's not a big deal, as you said. This is the site, home. This is our homepage, and here's the gist of what they want to do. Welcome to the American Paramedic Association. Which can we ever prove this is a real thing? I mean, who decides what associations are and aren't? I mean, they can just become one.
Yeah. If you apply for a license and you get it, but are they?
What do you mean a license?
Like a a business license, and you apply to the Secretary of State, and you could become a LLC or a nonprofit or a corporation. Anybody could do that.
Yeah. Okay. So they have similar to Amazing Team, blah blah blah. Be patient while we're rolling things out. I don't know when the site went up. Basically, contact us. Who we are? Who are we? Is it short? See, I don't understand that whole capital W thing either. And I love how the only picture of the whole website is Johnny and Roy. And they're talking about how we need to let them go because it's 47 years ago. We need to move into the future. But that's not what we're here to discuss. We're here to discuss this Paramedic Manifesto, which you can download. So I'm going to read a little bit. And Tom, I'll get you to explain to me what some of this means. So, Paramedic Scope of Practice. I'm skipping the whole first paragraph. It's a member-based organization, which they listed off about a dozen-ish members right now. And everybody's putting, I've never been the person that I cared about letters behind your name. But apparently everybody here does. AAS was his associates in
Applied Science.
Applied Science, okay, that's paramedicine. BA, MHA, working on DHA.
Bachelor's of Art, Masters of Health Administration, and currently working on a Doctor's of Health Administration.
Okay. So you got some...
Working on AAS.
Yeah.
Steve Cole. So these are the members.
These are the members. It says about us. So our current team, that's our team. That's not necessarily the members, I guess. It doesn't say how you become a member. Although they challenge everybody to use their logo for EMS Week 2019.
Why not?
On profile. As your profile pic. Here's who they say they are. We are paramedics. We're paramedics who are tired of waiting for someone else to advocate on our behalf. We're paramedics tired of other organizations not fighting for what paramedics need and only work for their own interests. Which is kind of what every organization does. They work for their own interests.
Right.
And then it says we're paramedics just like you. We know that Johnny and Roy got many people interested in 1972, but that was 47 years ago. It's time for us to finally let them retire so that they can bring paramedicine into the future, a future that they'd be proud of. And then a listing of names.
But they don't list what they're wanting either.
Right.
And the whole thing is so poorly done. It seems like to me it's a group of people who just got together and said, hey, let's start a club.
Kind of.
And let's write a document, which is fine. But reading their document, it is apparent that they have no clue about the politics of EMS or how EMS is run or anything. Now, I understand, because I'll go ahead and say I have a lot of letters behind my name. You walk in my office, I got things on the wall. You don't hear me bragging about it. Whenever you see my signature line, I don't even know if I've got on my signature line, do I? It just as Tom Kamplain on my emails.
I don't know. I don't remember.
You know, it doesn't matter what that is to me. The knowledge is in here, and I use it every day to do my job. I don't need to prove to somebody or tell somebody, hey, I've got like a doctorate degree or close, because I almost had a doctorate degree. I quit.
Yeah.
I did not finish it. Most people who know me know that, because they saw me working on it for many years. People used to make fun of me because they're like, Tom, man, you're going to be in school the rest of your life. Not anymore. Well, I guess I am. I work in one, so... Dang allergy, sorry about that. I didn't want to cough in everybody's ear. However, the document, it is apparent that I don't know if, and I've made notes on here so that I can go over it, but it's apparent that either they haven't been in the field for over 5 years, or if they have, they've been in a lower level position. They haven't been in a directorship, or they haven't worked on the state level, or they haven't had to interact with the political parties that make the decisions of what we do. And we're not just going to be able to form a union, because this sounds more like a union type thing than anything else.
Right.
To bully the state into wanting to make us, let us do what we want to do.
Well, okay, so let's jump on the first one. I think even see you have it highlighted there.
Yeah.
The number one thing we've talked about, I think, if you had some kind of AI aggregator that could just break down all the stuff we discuss and say these are the topics. Like you can do with tags. If you tag things, then you have a tag cloud that the big ones are the ones you tag the most. If we had a topic one, it'd probably be money and EMS. I think. And that is a constant battle. And one of the first things that they list is
without regard for reimbursement.
Yeah, American paramedics provide patient-centered care without regard for reimbursement schemes. Okay, on a street level, when I'm doing medicine, absolutely. I have told many a patient, "Oh, I can't afford it." It's like the money isn't. We're here for your health.
Yeah.
We have people in the office deal with the money, and I can tell you, as the world goes, they treat you first, worry about the money later. That's how American medicine is. And I specify that because specifically they're going to reference some other, the European Union and some other stuff here in a little bit. But without regard to reimbursement, then how do you expect to do anything else
in EMS
in this whole manifesto
if you're not getting paid?
Yeah.
Everything, people, and listen to me, people, everything revolves around money. It does. You cannot get paid if you're not doing your job and making money. And if you're out in the field and you're running your day and you don't care about reimbursement, all you're doing is setting yourself up and your service up for failure. That's it. At the end of the day. So how are we involved with reimbursement? By providing the correct and optimal patient care. Because if you're going out there and you're providing crappy patient care and you're not treating the patient right, guess what? Probably not going to get reimbursed for it.
Right. Seriously,
the service. So you got to provide great patient care. In the manifesto, they do talk about that, providing great patient care. And I think 90-something% of everybody in EMS, and I say this because I know some burnout, crusty old people who need to find another job, who don't care about people, and I wonder, why did you come to work today? We know them, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
And their paperwork, I remember being a captain and bringing somebody into the office, and I actually sent them home because they refused to redo their PCR, and subsequently, by the end of the week, was looking for another job because they refused to, whenever they started pulling all the paperwork and seeing their stuff, because the paperwork was like, responded to a blank, put person on stretcher, and transported to hospital.
Wow, that leaves a whole lot of information to be desired.
Basically, Uber. That's what we were. So if you want to be an Uber driver, go be an Uber driver. You're not going to get reimbursement for your service, which is what pays your salary to begin with. And you know what? And I believe in our education program, we need to talk more about reimbursement. I think that on a base level, that EMS personnel need to understand more about reimbursement so that they can understand how to do their job better. Because it's not about going out whenever you've got somebody, for instance, I've had medics who go out and they can't treat congestive heart failure. They can't figure it out. So what do? Shotgun approach. I'm going to give them Lasix. I'm going to give them nitro. I'm going to give them albuterol. I'm going to give them aspirin at the same time. And I'm going to go and give them some steroids too. Just so, what protocol are you following? What's wrong with them? You can't figure it out?
Yeah.
So you're wasting money on it. So yeah, without regard for reimbursement, yeah, you need to be thinking about reimbursement out there. I'm sorry.
And Dawn made a joke earlier because she was telling Mallory about the monitor a little bit, and they call it, they're joking around calling it squiggly lines, and she goes, you know what? If we don't recognize it on the monitor, we just treat them till we do, right? So yep. As long as we can get it flat.
Shock it till you recognize it, right?
Now the next paragraph here, I even had, the same paragraph. In most cases, this is about American paramedics, right? In most cases, they function with little or no direct supervision using structured guidelines, most often authored by their paramedics. I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing. That's a little bit. But then the care provided sometimes includes the transportation of patients to the emergency department or other facilities. That for definitive care. That pretty much happens, I thought, most of the time. And actually, aren't we, as a whole, as an industry, talking about stop wasting time on scene, get people to the hospital faster, and this whole little or no direct supervision. Okay, yes, and even if a paramedic wrote the protocols, a doctor had to go through and sign it.
Yeah,
and they get into the whole doctor.
And we're going to because they are completely offline on that.
So we're going to hit next.
Peer-based interdisciplinary model to provide the most appropriate care. Peer-based is a good thing. I understand peer-based. But there's more to us than just paramedics, people. We are a system. There are lay people out there that are part of our system. There are EMRs out there that are part of the system. Mm-hmm. Nurses are part of the system, and so are physicians, and so are physical therapists, and everybody else in between, and respiratory therapists, and everybody in between.
And they talk about building a college with mostly medics and a little bit of nurses and doctors and politicians or something.
Yeah.
But it is very much we want to be us. I'm sorry, I worked with a ton of medics, and as speaking for myself, I needed guidance and supervision. Mm-hmm. I needed Tom to sometimes sit me down and talk to me. And there was a lot of times, obviously I wouldn't have been in the field if I didn't know what I was doing. Ultimately, you get caught, you get fired, you mess up, you get sued. Those kind of things is what I'm talking about. And that never happened to me. And I was entrusted with responsibility and given raises and promotions. So I just say all that to say I feel like I was a good medic and I knew what I was doing. But left to my own devices, I made some bad decisions sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking specifically of Newton at a certain period where we worked with people like Rob Andrews, but then we worked with other people that I won't name because then they understand they're on the low end of the scale of that swing. You
ain't got to talk about me like that in my face, Charles.
Well, I'm not looking at your face. I'm looking at the camera. But no, you have that swing of these people like, man, they were always educating you, and that's somebody. Amy Norton, Rob Andrews, that's a good peer group. And there was a swing on the other end of that we're all medics. We're all getting paid virtually the same depending on your skill level, not skill level.
How long you been there?
That's it. How long you been there? And so nothing differentiated us other than the effort we put in. And there are people who consider themselves my peers who try to talk down to me that
were
never my peers on any definition. So that is I'm glad you picked that phrase out. That was like.
And the thing is too, we do not look. People, and I feel like this is a group of people who've gotten in a little circle and think, oh, I'm a paramedic, I save lives, I push epi, I do this. And yes, we do. and trust me, I've been a paramedic my entire adult life, and I'm proud of it. But I'm going to tell you that I know nurses, and I know physicians and PAs and stuff that have 100 times more knowledge in patient care than we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
We only focus on a few minutes of patient care. We only do a few things as compared to the entire continuum of care of this patient. Yeah, we do things on the scene that saves lives, that makes a difference, and we do advanced things. But they have a lot more knowledge out there, and we need that knowledge to help progress our profession.
It's a team.
Because, it's a team effort, and we're limited in what we do.
This line, going back to that first, American paramedics are uniquely located to identify and address healthcare disparities within their communities. I'm sorry, do you know how many medics off the top of my head? Good medics. People I would highly recommend today, as you could trust this person, they're a good medic. Who I've known to go into a situation that they should have just transported and either forced a refusal or caused a problem.
Yeah.
And they're good. I say
all the
they're
time.
Good medics. They made a bad decision. And you want them to be uniquely located to identify and address healthcare disparities? Okay, I'm sorry. I've known a few people who work for the CDC, which takes a whole lot of different kind of education.
All right.
And they do studies.
We have people that work for the CDC that come here to learn how to do what we do.
Yeah. You know, we have a student now who's going to be in the response team going into the field when something happens. And he's coming to get EMT skills to better be equipped.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we're making them better. We're teaching them. And that's the thing. Paramedicine, even if they break it down to, if they did a nomenclature thing where they're trying to make everything, sure, that's where they compare to England, where everything's paramedicine, then it's primary care, intermediate care, and advanced care. Okay, fine. So if everything's under paramedicine, that's skills. What he's coming here for is basic skills to put his hands on patients. He's got probably, I'm guessing, because I haven't talked to him, doctorates and masters and all this science-based research stuff and specialties, and even he wouldn't say he's uniquely qualified to go out and identify this stuff. He would want a team.
Right, exactly.
To do that. It's very egotistical in some of this writing. What about this paramedic education?
Well, the nomenclature thing.
The nomenclature, yeah.
Bring all these providers under a common term, paramedic. No! Because they're not paramedics. EMTs are not paramedics. Advanced EMTs are not paramedics. And we're not in Great Britain, and we're not in Canada, and we're not in Australia. We're not. It's a different system. I
have a huge problem with that.
It's a difference.
Why does it matter? I mean,
well, because a technician, EMTs are technicians.
Yes.
AEMTs are technicians. Paramedic is the professional level. We're no longer EMT paramedics anymore. So whenever you go into, I have family that are in healthcare. I have friends that are in healthcare, and I've gone out and I've taught ACLS and PALS and other healthcare programs to hospitals all around the state and to facilities around the state and dealt with nurses. Do you realize that nurses have no idea what this stuff is? And if we go and calling everybody a paramedic, well, then everybody's going to be a paramedic. So then that means whenever the nurse picks up the phone and needs a cardiac cath patient transferred from the ER to downtown Atlanta, what are they going to ask for? Well, we need a paramedic. Well, what kind of paramedic?
Yeah.
You know,
there would be a huge, honestly, there would be a huge, I think, I'm going to play devil's advocate.
I'm okay with saying medic.
I mean,
I'm okay with saying medic.
But
everybody's a medic.
Educational for the nurses, for the doctors, for the people making the phone calls. There would be a huge educational push on this is the new levels, and that'd be a nationwide push. Why would we waste energy and efforts on that when we really need to be educating on this is how we can keep people from blocking the ERs and filling them up.
Yeah.
This is how you call 911 appropriately. You know, it's not in itself a bad thing, but it's like that's such a change. That we, like you were saying, we'd have to educate every nurse and every doctor,
everybody,
every secretary in an ER, every hospital administrator, and the general public. Because they're going to call 911, and medics are coming. But what kind are they? Are they the primary care, which is the basic, intermediate, which is the advanced, or are they advanced care, which is now the paramedic? You know, yeah, I get that. I get it's and another relation to this is these are systems. All three of those are systems with universal health care. Now, I'm not getting into that discussion. I have no problem with universal health care. But when you talk, well, we're doing it, we're going to do it like they do it. We have a whole day, going back to that, without reimbursement scheme consideration. They get paid no matter what. And actually, you're a little bit wrong on these levels. Because I watch the Netflix shows. I know that doctors will go out in Australia on the helicopters.
Yep.
Doctors will go out in England on the helicopters because they are so remote. The medics are the low end of the low end. So this is a little bit of a watch the Queen, I kind of misunderstand what I'm talking about moment of, okay, that's nomenclature, right? However, that's not who responds to the calls. Not the big calls, not the cardiac arrests that you're talking about. I saw a doctor crack a chest open in a cow field because a dude got kicked in the chest. And they flew to the scene and did it right there in the field. And it blew my mind. And I'm like, I could learn to do that and be cool, but they're clearly a doctor. And their aide was another doctor. And then there was a medic essentially being the assistant.
Yep.
You know? All right, education. This one bothered me
Yeah,
a lot.
I'm about to get on my soapbox.
All right, before you get on your soapbox, this is what I call gatekeeping, which means people get a certain idea or a certain power because they have it. In this case, it's at educational level. I've got it. So you know what? I only want to play with people who are this level, and this is the gate, and I'm keeping it closed. That's what gatekeeping is. Why do you have a problem with all of this? And what is it? What are they asking for?
Well, they're wanting all paramedics to have a degree. Now, trust me, I am not anti-degree. I have more degrees on my wall than most. I do. I am highly educated, and I am in favor of higher education. I'm just not in favor of requiring a degree for someone to work on the ambulance as a paramedic entry level. If you want to do something degree-wise, have another level. We're coming up with this, the community paramedic, the flight medic, critical care medic, degree them. But the guy out there or the lady out there responding every day to 911 calls, we don't need to degree them. We already have a shortage, people.
Right. Which we're going to pull up that.
And you know what? And I'm going to tell you what. NREMT accreditation, that's why we have a shortage.
I was going to throw that back to, you want me to have a bachelor's degree? Because they say,
where are you going to go get it?
Right? They want a minimum of an associate's degree, but they should quickly transition to a bachelor's degree.
Sorry,
y'all.
y'all.
Pay me bachelor's degree pay, because that is not $13, $14, $15, even $17 an hour. Bachelor's degree pay.
That goes back to reimbursement, doesn't it?
Right? What does a bachelor's of nursing get typically?
A bachelor's of nursing, $35 an hour.
So if I get a bachelor's of paramedicine, I want $35 an hour. Okay, maybe less.
But whenever you get in,
the
paramedic's not supposed to be a technician; they're supposed to be a practitioner.
Well, there is,
but whenever you get into, hey, let's have that bachelor's degree or that associate's degree, and they can become the critical care medic or the community paramedic or the flight medic. Guess what? Those types of transports are getting reimbursed. And I'm sorry out there because I probably tick off some of my flight comrades out there because I was a flight medic for a while, and I know they're charging $10,000 to $20,000 a flight, and they're paying the crew peanuts.
Yeah.
Okay, they can afford to pay medics $35 an hour. They're paying the nurses that. Pay the medics that too. You got the pilots making good money. So those type things, because they're getting the reimbursement, because most of the time, if it's an interfacility transfer, they're not going to fly it if it's not going to pay. Yeah. They don't have to. So it's going to pay. Either the insurance pays it, the facility pays it, somebody's paying it. So that's different from a 911 call where you go out on a 911 call and they may not pay, they may pay, may not, they may have insurance, may not have insurance, may not see a dime of that. So I understand the difference in pay there for that transport medic that's on the street. I do think, let's pay them more. I'm not going to ever not advocate paying more in the field. But I can see that that's one. If you want to put things on the same level where you're talking about nurses, well, guess what? Nurses make $35, $40 an hour because they're reimbursement people. Because the hospital's making that from somewhere. They're getting the money. And we're not going to get the money until that comes in. And saying that we've got to have a degree, no. And the problem I have with the degree is that, and I developed the associate's degree for Georgia Piedmont Technical College. Whenever I went there was no associate's degree. And then I started fighting against other schools that had these associate's degrees because every time you turn around, they were adding more courses, more content. And you've got a paramedic who gets an associate's degree, but they have over 4 years of education, but they only get an associate's degree. So the entire educational system needs to be revamped because that's not fair. For me to get an associate's degree when I put in over 4 years, whereas a nurse puts in 4 years and guess what they get? A bachelor's degree. And that's not fair either. Yeah. And that's why I'm not for it. That's why I'm okay with the diploma option. If you want to get the associate's degree, that's an option thing for you. But, let's look at furthering the care. You want to further our field, it all starts with funding and the money. Because at the end of the day, I guarantee you, most of the people who wrote this was sitting around in a circle complaining about the money that they were getting paid.
But there's no compensation schemes to be considered.
Because they probably don't know. That's what
this is and we're still going to go through it. But to me, this whole thing reads of an idealistic, perfect
utopian world.
But that's the first top of it, which is unachievable, right? Idealistic. You're not factoring in real world factors to get there. Some of it I actually agree with. Most of it is that. But then the flip side of it is, leave us alone. We know more than anybody else. And that's going to come out some more. But the phrase I've got highlighted right now on the screen is about the degree and how they should get associates, but they should quickly transition to bachelors. Because this demonstrates their commitment to an achievement of professional parity normally provided within the healthcare industry.
No, it doesn't.
What the?
No, it doesn't. I know some
about?
really good medics out there that dedicated their life to this, and they have a diploma.
Yeah, man.
And those are the ones that I want to look up. I want to look up, and that's who I want to see treating me.
Yeah, EMT and advanced is and even most paramedic is tech school stuff, trade school stuff. We don't hand diplomas out for EMT and advanced here. If we did a paramedic, I don't know. My paramedic, I went to a tech school. My EMT intermediate, I went to a tech school. I don't have a diploma for either one of those. They were considered adult, considering education.
Megan says she can hardly hear you.
All right.
You're not loud enough, Charles.
I've honestly
never heard that before.
No.
Sound like you're sitting in my office most of the days.
Well, that's because you want me in your office most of the
days. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll tune that up for you, mate, because I know you want to hear my sultry voice. Aside from maybe she's trying to listen just through the door and not actually has her speakers turned on.
Maybe so. Who knows?
But yeah, that whole line of this demonstrates their commitment. Wait. So showing up to do work in the rain, in the heat, in the cold, getting spit on, getting hated on, getting called a firefighter or a police officer, nothing wrong with them, but getting lack of recognition. Yeah. You're saying that's not showing a commitment to professionalism, professional parity.
It's showing up with what we're saying is a discrepancy in pay, showing up despite that, right?
Yeah. I mean, and we're talking about discrepancy. Literally, if I worked downtown somewhere, I can probably get, as a medic, I could probably get $18, $20 an hour. When I was in the field, I was making, I think, 12 with Newton, but then I went to Jasper County because it was closer to the house. I needed to change, whatever. I dropped $2 an hour for the same years of experience and had been a captain in 2 different places at that point. You want talking about, and I still showed up and did my job, and I did it well. That statement, and because a manifesto quickly becomes a guiding line for your association, right? contract, a constitution, a
Right.
order of business,
Guiding
a guiding
yeah.
principle. Yeah, and for that, it's like, no, you're a snob now. Your nose is way up in the air, going,
Looking,
you
and
don't have a
the
degree.
the majority of the people out there that are in EMS do not have degrees, and probably have no intention of going to get one.
Yeah.
And here you are talking down to them. Look, because you have a degree, that does not make you any better than anybody else. I'm sorry. Taking English and math and social studies and stuff like that did not teach you how to stick an IV any
Right.
better than anybody else. It didn't teach you how to have bedside manner. It didn't teach you how to work an ACLS algorithm. It didn't teach you how to read an EKG either. It just says you got a degree. And you know what? I've been in this education system too, teaching most of my life. And I have people come in here to this school who have degrees and stuff and can't write a freaking sentence that's correct.
And along these lines, same thing you're talking about. This next paragraph inside of that. We therefore recommend that first responder public safety providers adopt the primary care, paramedic, basic EMT, and advanced EMT levels, while only seeking the paramedic level for transporting paramedic roles. What does that mean? And they think this will happen naturally without outside intervention.
Okay,
Basically
what they're
saying
wanting,
we're only going to do basics and advanced.
What they're wanting, they're looking at these European models and these other models because it's socialized medicine. And I've gotten in debates online about this socialized medicine because people are out there like, oh, socialized medicine is the way to go. Okay, well then, any of you who are all in favor of socialized medicine, just look back over the last few months. Go to the UK's web service, okay? Don't look at the United States web service. Go to CNN for Europe, Politico for Europe, in there, and look at the wait times. And how many times people with the flu went to the hospital and was told to go home because they couldn't be seen. In that wasn't sold, sit in the waiting room and wait and we'll get to you. Nope. The door was shut and said, nope, you go home.
Okay, that to me is not a complaint. You go with the flu. Don't come here with the flu, man.
Well, I mean, these people were generally sick. So that's their socialized medicine. You know, hey, I'm paying into it. I should be able to go get treatment. Nope. They tell you.
That is true.
Nope,
I mean, that's how it should work.
You're not getting it today.
Yeah.
That's what they were told. And they were sent home, and the system almost crashed. And then there's other countries too, issues. Don't want to get into. I want to get back on this. So, but that system out there, what they're set up with is they have the lower level EMS personnel, right? The paramedics stay at the station. The call goes out. The EMTs go out and they treat. And if it's like a BLS call, then they transport, and if they need a medic, then. So what you'll have is four ambulances out there, and then a paramedic and a squad car that responds. That's what they're wanting. They don't want to. What it is in a lot of this, because I've been in management a long time, and I hear it. You're not. You can't. I'm gonna say something I don't mean. But if you keep rubbing a turd, it's not going to turn into a diamond. I'm sorry. Or if you keep rubbing a turd, you're not going to find gold. What you're going to find is a piece of corn. I mean, and you keep rubbing it, you're not going to make it into gold. I'm sorry. It doesn't work. And people sitting around the station, they just don't want to go run the calls.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's
they
exactly
don't want
what
to.
I felt.
They don't.
Wait, so you're talking about, and I do believe that statement that this is going to happen anyway, because what I just said earlier, the industry is, I'm talking about HA, doctors, CDC, all these people who do studies outside of just us in the field. The industry's going, stop messing around on scene, get them in the truck and let's go, which means you need less paramedic intervention. And we know, I'm making up a number, but I felt like 90% of my calls as a medic were advanced/EMT calls. You know, that my skills weren't used to the fullest, but when they were needed, they were needed.
But, you know, when you do this, though, Charles, what you do, all right, when we worked at Newton, there was a paramedic on every truck, right?
Yes, there was. Sometimes a double medic, yeah.
So that means we had, what, 3-4 trucks on a day?
Yeah. Yeah, when I was there. Mm-hmm.
So, well, I think it was 3 trucks, right, when you were there?
Because there was 2 in the city,
And
one
one
in
out of
the
Station
county.
1.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that means that you had a job as a medic, I had a job as a medic, and we had another person had a job as a medic, right?
Yeah, minimum. Mm-hmm.
So that means that, all right, we're going to do away with the paramedic shortage by
eliminating
the needs of medics. So that means you don't have a job.
Right. With my bachelor's, which I don't have. I'm being facetious. With my bachelor's degree. Now you just made it harder to get a job as a medic. But you demanded more
If our
skills.
friends here knew anything about economics, what they end up doing is increasing the pool of paramedics and when the pool of paramedics goes up, guess what happens to the wages of paramedics?
They go down.
They go down.
That's why at the time, because you had so many medics at Newton, I was asking for like $14 or $15 an hour, and Luna was the chief then, and he's like, "This is what I can offer you," and it was, I like to say 11 or 12, whatever the going rate was for the medic of my history of my long distance. I'm losing my words today. I don't know why, but that's because you weren't hurting for medics. But
right.
You flip that script to where you're desperate for medics, then you have to start throwing money.
Yeah. At the time, when you got into Newton, when a position came available at Newton, one position come available, 20 medics would apply for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it wasn't like it is now, because now there's a huge shortage around. And, is that shortage because we have paramedics on every truck? Do we need paramedics on every truck? Probably not. But you know what? You start taking the paramedics off the truck, and because people are sitting in their circles coming up with these ideas based off of... And why do you think Europe and Australia do it this way? Because they pay EMTs half of what they pay medics, and they have one medic sitting at the station. That's why.
I mean, that doesn't even a direct reference that they do that. It just is a statement there, so...
Now look, getting on into education, they start talking about the NREMT.
Okay.
And I am not a big fan of the National Registry. People say, "What kind of educator are you?" Well, the reason why I am a fan of the concept of the National Registry, I'm not a fan of the governance of the National Registry. And they do address that, and I do like how they have addressed that in this. They have done that.
And this is where I start asking questions.
I would like for them as a manifesto. If you're coming out and you're doing a manifesto, if you knew about the politics and you knew what all the National Registry has done and doing, and part of the reason why there's a shortage in this country, in this area of paramedics, is because the National Registry came out and said, you know what, we're not going to allow you to take our exam unless you went to a K-HELP school. All that did was shut down schools. So now you have areas in the country that have no paramedic programs. And the paramedic programs are limited. Whenever you limited those paramedic programs, guess what you did to those paramedic programs that are still there?
Overloaded them.
Overloaded them, which also meant you did what to cost?
Made it go up. Because that's one way to filter out the load. So
now going to paramedic schools is extremely expensive, hard to find seats, and so on. Was that done on purpose?
Because not everybody, we don't benefit. The student doesn't benefit. But the
schools do.
The school,
the big schools do. They're making more money and stuff, and that's a huge administrative thing. So why not? My thing is I'd like to see not just one agency, because, hey, look, folks, we live in a capitalist society. Capitalism is good. I'm sorry. Let's have a competing agency.
Yeah.
Throw one, somebody out there.
This is where it gets confusing. This is, and for the rest of this is where I'm going to ask questions about what I don't know. But it's like, okay, this statement here in the line you're talking about, we recommend changes that align with the current direction of the National Registry of EMT or emergency medical technicians by increasing education and advanced clinical practice to transform current practice. But later we'll get into it. But later says, well, then we want to start our own college. That'll do different things. And say, wait, are we aligning with the registry, or are we doing something different?
Well, they're talking about their college, isn't like a college of school. It's not a
No,
school
I know that.
college.
It's a governing board.
Yeah, governing board.
But you're aligning. But
Who are we aligning
technically,
with?
you're technically saying the NREMT is a governing board. You want to do what they're doing, but now you want to do something different. It felt like a contradiction. But here's a paragraph with zero into it, zero solution. I'm going to put it on the screen right now so I can read it. Continuing education and periodic refreshers do not meet the educational needs of current or future paramedics, which change dramatically and frequently. But wait, doesn't an EMT require a lot of continuing education in 2 years?
Yep.
But I thought we're aligning with what their direction is. And the direction is we want more hours of continuing education. But you just say it doesn't work.
And it doesn't work, and I agree with them on that.
Okay.
It doesn't work. There needs to be a better model.
But
they're saying they're want to align with the registry, but
Right.
then they're with me. I agree with that sentence. It doesn't.
Yeah.
So to me, that's why I'm like, the National Registry doesn't work.
So it says competency will no longer be based on initial training with fundamental content retaught every 2 years, which is exactly what registry does. These methods have far outlived their usefulness and do not contribute to the professional development of paramedics any longer. Okay, where's your solution? Where's
They
your
don't have
model?
one.
Oh no, we're going to change gears and talk about something different now.
Right.
And that I'm pointing out as a problem when you start reading things and go, oh yeah, this makes sense. What makes sense?
And then it turns right around. The American paramedics support the NREMT.
Yeah, I'll
the
put that
next
back
paragraph.
on the screen. This is the line right here on the screen that he's talking about. So, yeah, that's that same line. Yeah. And then when
We
they
also
say
envision
American Paramedics is their group. That's what it's
But
referred to.
they do have. We also envision a future NREMT with a board of directors primarily comprised of paramedics and a limited number of non-paramedic
Yeah.
members representing physicians, the public, and the state regulators. The problem with the registry is that they'll change the rules and nobody knows about it. They'll put it on their website and they're like, "Well, hey, it's on our website." Well, it wasn't there last week. And if you call up to the registry, you'll talk to one person. How many times this happened to you, Charles?
A lot.
When you were
I know where
going
you're
in,
going.
you talk with one person on the phone, and they tell you one thing. And then whenever you do that, and you call back to submit the documents to do it, then the person tells you, no, that's not the way you're supposed to do it. And then you go and you do that, and then you come back and you finish it and you turn it in and you talk to somebody else. They tell you something. Well, you didn't have to do it that way. You could have did this. It's like, come on, people. We've had 3 conversations over the course of 2 or 3 weeks trying to get this done, and you've told us 3 different things.
Yeah.
You know? So...
And this is one of those points where like, we're medics, leave us alone. This adjustment will ensure decisions regarding minimum requirements are informed and driven by those. Wait. So the second you're on a board, Tom, let's just bring it to your reality. The second you started a school, how often did you get in the streets to be uniquely qualified to know what was going on right there so you could teach it? When's the last time you set foot on an actual truck as a paid paramedic?
I haven't had time. When would I do it?
Right. So if you're on the board of this, but you have informed, driven decisions, but you're so far taken away from the street, it's not even funny. I mean, that's what people complain about. And honestly, that's one of my concerns with running my own company is it's small enough now that, and I run a digital media company, just so you know, it's not a medic anything, but it's small enough now that I am literally in the mix. I don't do the editing as much anymore, but I still can. I got my finger on the pulse. But as this company grows and I'm focused on what keeps the overarching company going, I lose touch with the day-to-day grind of how it goes. Mm-hmm. New techniques, new things. When's the last time you knew of a new technique before everybody else did? I mean, usually it's been, oh, wait, Grady's been testing this thing. We just read a news story on it. Because those medics are in the field and they were on the pulse. We find out about it months later. You think you're going to have an informed... Just because you have paramedic behind your name doesn't make you special. All right, your turn.
It doesn't. I mean, and the thing is, too, this governance, this board of director, who's going to choose them? It's not here. And who are they? And I almost get the feeling, too, that this is a group who has started this that they've not been in a supervisory role, or maybe if they were, it was a lower level one, and they're not getting, they want to, it's almost like, I've been doing this for a little while, I'm in charge of the world now.
Or the person who thinks they can they can be the chief, they can be
the armchair
they've been here for, I've worked here for 5 years. It's my turn to run it.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with anything?
Oh yeah, exactly.
What's your next highlight?
The college should belong to the National College of Paramedics that we've been talking about, I guess. And they're basing this off of, what physicians do.
Right.
And I kind of like that concept. I think that we should have more power in governing ourselves. Yeah, I agree with that. But how are we going to get this document? Doesn't tell us how we're going to get there. It just says we're going to copy somebody else. I don't think we need to copy somebody else per se, but we also don't need to reinvent the wheel if their system works. But their system is flawed too. There's flaws. It doesn't matter. There's going to be flaws there.
And any system, because above that paragraph where you're talking about the American College, or the College of Paramedics, they talk about we need to establish standards, how you enter the field, and then by how they practice. 2, we're responsible for teaching paramedics how to do those standards. And 3, we must enforce those standards. Okay, yes, I fully agree with those 3 statements, but every system is flawed because systems are things. Mm-hmm. People are people. And AHA is one of the defining factors for cardiac medicine, period, right? They come out with the changes. They govern this, they govern that. And how many times you have medics wanting to do it differently? Or how many times you just do it we always railed against, the way you learn it in the books, not the way we do it in the streets. How is this going to change that? Because this is a system. AHA is a system. Right. What we have now is a system. It's the people in the system. How is this? Yes, these are great statements, but how's that going to do anything different than what we're already doing?
Exactly. Let's see, membership and governance are comprised of members of the profession, which serve as the basics for paramedic autonomy and self-regulation. It sounds like to me somebody wants to be a physician. If you want to be a PA, go to PA school. If you want to be an MP, go to MP school.
Yeah.
This is EMS. This is being a paramedic. Or establish. I've always thought that we should establish in our profession a position that is like a PA or an MP, but as a paramedic. And that's what I've always dreamed and envisioned this community paramedicine, this community paramedic turning into. Is like an MP, but for our profession.
Yeah. And then I felt exactly what you felt. Oh, you're trying to put us on levels of doctors.
Yeah.
But and they talked about training, about having internships and beyond what simulations in schools. That's what doctors do. 2 years of internship where they practice as doctors.
But they get paid while they're doing that.
But they get paid. Okay. But yeah, so you're literally taking it to be a doctor in the field. Why are you not studying Japan's model? Now it may have changed because I haven't studied it since I was in school. But when I was in school, I learned about Japan's model was. And this made me so excited, too, because I love motorcycles. Medics, there are no EMTs. Medics are on motorcycles. And they zip around, and they get through there, and they do the first stabilization. Then when the ambulance gets there, it's a doctor and a nurse ready to go, like a portable hospital. Done. You want us to be doctors? That takes away the bachelor's. That means we got to do doctorate school. But now we're doctors. What's the difference?
It's that gate thing you were talking about.
Yeah. Gatekeeping.
This is not to say nurses, physicians, and other health-related disciplines are not consulted in development, professional research, medical protocol development, and medical oversight. The role of state EMS offices should transition towards a greater focus on EMS system development and planning. And hospital regulatory affairs and development of time-critical illness systems of care. The state office of EMS is responsible for licensure and adherence to the law.
Just like the medical boards of each state.
I doubt if we're going to take over that responsibility. And that is us. Everybody works at the state office. They're paramedics. The
state licensure paragraph is just about how they want to set a standard that all states have to follow. So it makes them equal across the board.
Now, they did say this, and this right here to me is just once I say, it's the paraguide. This is what it sounds like is paraguides. And I used to really detest being around paraguides. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I'm not affected.
Because they're paramedic, they know everything. Yep. And nobody can tell them different.
Exactly. And I used to say that they had swollen toes. And if you stepped on their toes, they cried a lot. And they have here, it is time for the role of paramedicine to become autonomous and differentiated from that of other healthcare professions. Neither medical school nor nursing school prepares a person for paramedicine. I doubt that because our founders were doctors and nurses, right? I mean, nurses around this country, people, maybe we're the people who wrote this, because I'm sure the people who wrote this are probably friends and see each other every day. But there are areas around the country where nurses are teaching paramedics.
I can get that.
Paramedics have also never practiced under the licensure of a physician. Apparently, they do not know the politics or how it works.
Wait. It follows up with a really, this is the line that, okay, I'm done with you. When you're trying to sum up this whole idea, this is where I'm done with you. You don't want to argue facts. You don't want to give me solutions. So my mind's already picking up on all that as we get to this. Then you say that what you just read, paramedics have also never practiced under the license of a physician in the way that many good storytellers might suggest. I'm sorry, is the earth flat? I mean, what are you talking about here? What
do you mean? The earth is flat, Charles. What are you saying?
Chemtrails. I'm just trying to find a conspiracy theory. Australia doesn't exist. Conspiracy theory. What do you mean storytellers might
Chemtrails is
suggest?
what made my hair fall out.
Well, then I guess Australia doesn't exist for you either.
Yeah. It's a fake. And dinosaurs didn't either. But anyway, okay, so in a way that many good storytellers might suggest, apparently you have never been to court. Because you cannot operate as a paramedic or EMT without a physician medical director. And their licensure is what authorizes you to do what you do.
And then follow that up with paramedics have coexisted with physicians and with nurses since the beginning and have developed our own unique body of knowledge. No. Just no. You haven't. We haven't. In fact, the first medics were coroners trying to beat each other to the scene to get the body, to get the money. Oh, wait, what? Mm-hmm. To get the money.
Mm-hmm.
No. Now, what? Tell me one thing that paramedics do that is unique to paramedicine that nurses don't do, not can't, or don't do, because they can do ACLS. They just aren't allowed to in most hospitals.
Nurses can do anything we do.
What can a doctor, what do we do that a doctor doesn't do? When was the last time a doctor's asked a medic, hey, I need you to come in and perform this, I can't do it? What are you talking about?
And apparently these folks have never flown or know anything about flight medicine because, you know what? Nurses on the flight crew, guess what the responsibility of the nurse is?
To correct the medic when they mess up?
Yeah. Guess what the responsibility of the medic is?
To save the nurse's ass when they mess up?
Yeah. It's the same thing, people. I've worked with some awesome nurses who's doing the same job I did. And I did the same job they did. And guess what? They didn't get it much more. I mean, they were nurses. They came to work. They went through the same orientation I went through. And they got out there and they got in the ditch. And they immobilized people, started IVs, did ACLS, did PALS, did everything. No, we did. So, no, I don't agree with that.
Unique. What is unique about what we do?
And
I can stick an EJ, theoretically. I can stick an EJ and I can backboard somebody better than a nurse. Well, that's a use it or lose it thing. You know how many nurses I've worked with? I've worked with a lot of nurses. I worked in a hospital for a while. And that's when I realized they don't know how to do what I do with the intubation and the EJs.
But they learn.
But it's because they don't get to use it.
They don't.
Is my point. Is the hospital goes,
just
yes,
like we don't do Foley catheters.
Yeah, we don't, because we don't use it.
Yeah, or put in NG tubes, or assist with chest tubes.
Yeah.
Or suturing.
You know,
or any of.
I've done, well, not the suturing, but I've done actually all of those things. With sitting next to a doctor. One of the chest tube was very much a doctor, like, hey, you want to do this? And he just watched me do it. But when I was in the hospital, I learned how to put in the Foleys and the NG tubes. and have difficulty now because it's been years. It's a lose it or
Right.
you use it or lose it skill. That doesn't make it unique. Just because we can intubate in the field does not make it unique to us that nurses don't. They don't do that. They don't do it because the hospital doesn't want the liability. They want the doctor to take the liability.
But in all honesty, if they're trained to do it, they can do it because guess what? Every nurse on the flight crew intubates. They do.
Because that's where they let them, and that's where they use it all the
And
time.
they use those skills.
Man.
And then
whew.
I get to the end here and I almost feel like this is a political action group wanting you to go out and do pretty much
Fight the
lobbying.
power. Yeah.
A lobbying group. So I don't agree with most of what they say. I agree there's some things I do agree with. I think they got a long way to go. I think they need to get some people with some experience to help them. I think they have good intentions. I do.
I think they
I like
have no key points for me to stand on or believe in.
to
in
be
this
willing to go up in
manifesto.
front of everybody and to fight.
Yes.
I think I need a clear before you come out with something like this. You need to have even on the website it needs to have more information. How do you want to do this? Which way are we going? Before I joined the club, what am I getting into?
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into something that's going to advocate or push some policy that's not working and that's not going to work.
And there's this line. You have it highlighted. I've got it highlighted. American paramedics, which is their group, but they're also trying to include everybody who's in America, must begin advocating for their profession at the local and state levels to promote the advancement of our profession through autonomy and self-regulation. I am the opposite of that. I'm with. We had the guy on from Athens for Everyone and the transparency bill. That's where I'm at. No. Take somebody who doesn't know my job, who wants to ask questions, and there'll be rules, but they go
And push us.
and keep us accountable. Because
Then
the
you
first
start
thing you
sweeping
well, you
the-
don't know my job. Okay, educate me. Because you did the sweeping under the rug motion. Exactly. That is exactly what happens with self-autonomy. That's why we want transparency, because I can tell you I've seen it happen. I've seen counties sweep things under a rug and not punish somebody. And we get it in our society today, after years of tragedy happening in the last couple of years, we get outraged when somebody tries to hide something that a police officer did. No, your actions should stand in the light.
And so what do they think? They're going to make some board of regular Joe paramedics who are going to go out and start disciplining other paramedics? What's going to end up happening is the owners of these businesses, where it should be dealt with, is going to say, stay out of our business. And then if they come up with some regulation that says, well, we're here as the regulators, well, guess what? More than likely, it's going to be a part-time job or something volunteer on the side for you.
Yeah, so do you think that board is going to be free?
Charles? Yeah, they're not going to. How are they going to get paid? Because we got reimbursement problems now. Where you going?
Yeah. Wait. Do you think to be members? I'm not members like on the board, but as a business. Okay, you want to be a business and you got to have paramedics. The paramedics have to be part of this paramedic college board. Do you think that's free? Do you think that paramedics are going to have to pay
Wait a
to be
second.
a part of that?
Wait a second. Is this entrepreneurial? Somebody?
I'm just saying. It's not a government. It's not a government board, right?
No.
It's a private citizen board,
Maybe.
and
Maybe
I mean,
they
it's
can-
not. National Registry's private, but you gotta pay to get through it. You don't have to pay again after you've done it. You can drop it if you want,
Right.
But you gotta pay. They make money. I'm sure we could probably look if they're publicly traded. I'm sure we could look up what the CEO makes. I wouldn't nitpick it. It's whatever.
Yeah.
It's like so these presumably the people who are these members are going to be the college board, right? Do you think they're going to do it less than $100,000 a year, $200,000, $1 million a year?
Probably not. That's a good point.
It's. I got caught up in something similar to this in Jasper County because they gave me one or two things to stand on, and the way the system at the time worked, it was not working, and that's what I stood and advocated for. Is we have to make change because we have good medics here who practically volunteer their time. And we all got paid. We got paid not much. Once they volunteered their time, there was a set of us there that would say we will not let trucks shut down anymore. We
Right.
formed a little mini union, not in the screw you pay us way, and that's not all unions, but I'm just oversimplifying. But the pact, we had a pact. See, pact is a better word than a manifesto. And our pact was, we believe in what we're doing right here, right now, whether the county supports us or not. And it really wasn't the whole county as people, it was the commissioners. And the commission had their own political things, agendas, and everything else. And it's like, we will make sure this truck doesn't shut down. We will make sure that we keep writing these letters to the county saying, we do not have the drugs that legally we're required to be on this truck. Every day that we do this, to make this better. Because those were things that we could do. There's nothing in this manifesto that we can do.
Right.
There's nothing that says, here's our solution, here's our points, here's what you can stand on. That's why Occupy Wall Street went sideways so fast, because they had an ideal of the rich get richer, and we need to out that, we need to stop that. Then it became all these people, it became a joke. Because 2 months in, when it became Occupy whatever cities, I remember Occupy Atlanta, and WSB went out there and interviewed, and they interviewed 5 different people and had 5 completely different answers about what was going on there. 100% different. No, we're here to change this. We're here to change this wholly different thing. That's not that at all. And this is what this will be. And it's horrible. And you talk about this idea of no compensation considered, because you take this heart of the med. Because when you're on a truck, that's absolutely how you should be. You walk into that patient, you're not going to swipe your card or I won't treat you. You're going, I'm here to treat you.
Right, exactly.
But that is not how you run a business. You have people in the business who do worry about
That's a 911 truck.
True. That is not a transport truck.
Transport truck, you wouldn't even show up because that is screened before you even get the call. And whenever you get the call and you get there, I guarantee you're worried about reimbursement, because what's the first thing you're asking for? CMN, the certificate of medical need. And you're also looking for what, a cover sheet, face sheet, insurance information, and that chart, right, before you leave.
And I don't even go to the patient's room until I have that.
Right.
And that was 10 years ago, so I know it ain't changed now. You know.
So we do care, and we should care. I think we need to look at things from a whole system approach. We need to look at the broken systems that we have and fix the broken systems. Because, number one, NREMT is not going to go away. It's not going to go away.
It's too integrated.
K-HELP is not going to go away. But it's not saying that we can't make a competing program.
Right.
Or we can try to force change upon it through lobbying and stuff. But,
yeah,
you know, I think that we need a lot more research, and we need to really understand what the politics of EMS are.
Yeah.
Before we try to go out there and recruit people who have less experience and know less than what you do. And because you've been in a doctorate program and you've read a few studies and you worked on it, because I've been there, buddy, and you've been reading a few things, does not make you the expert of all things EMS. Sorry.
And let me tell you that there's a thing at the bottom about the grassroots and use our logo as your Facebook profile picture all the way until EMS week is done, blah, blah, blah. As somebody who lives on social media all the time, let me tell you something. Nobody cares. Nobody. The first time I really, really, really saw it take off was at Jesuit as Charlie, which is We Are Charles, which is the French writer who got massacred. And that set off all the terrorist attacks, more like these individual terrorist attacks that we saw break up around the world. And people were putting, the Jesuit Charlie. But what did that do? It's like, oh, we stand with France. What do you know about it? What do you know about the attack? What do you know about him being massacred because he wrote against this terrorist group? What do you know? What are you doing to change the world? Oh, you change your profile picture. That doesn't mean anything. And nobody looks it up because it's your profile picture. Nobody cares that it's your profile picture. For you to think that this is going to be a grassroots thing that matters because I changed it to my profile picture, it doesn't matter. At best, somebody's going to look at it and go, oh, that's kind of cool. It's a red and white caduceus. Okay. You don't know what you're doing, and that's somebody can never follow. When you make all these little mistakes that you've made in your manifesto, there's no way I can follow you. I am posting the link to the actual document so you can read it yourself.
There was something on here I remember reading, and here apparently they've got based on their Facebook page where they sent a letter to
North Carolina
to
or
North
something,
Carolina
right?
supporting them, but there was like a comment.
I didn't read the letter, but I saw that was the one thing they've done is they sent some kind of letter to the state of North Carolina. And then we're going to touch on something real quick after you look that up. So I have pinned the link. I've pinned the link to the top of this chat for this video so that read it for yourself. I've always said you don't have to believe me. These are my opinions. This is the way Tom and I see it. We're on the same page as this crap, but you're welcome to read it. And we made it easy for you to read through it.
And this is a remark I did not like. This is the thing that turned me off, because I could be change my mind. American Paramedic Association, change my mind.
Yeah.
Show me what you want to do, okay? But on the page here it says here is what I would like to know: who each of you 9 are, where have you worked, how long have you worked, and what qualifications you have to advocate for the industry. If you could please reply with bios and qualifications for each of you, that would be great. That is a legitimate question. If you go to any association website, you will find the president's bio there. You will find the vice president's bio, the secretary's bio, the treasurer's bio. And then usually underneath that in the structure of an organization, you have a provider's division, an educator's division, an administrator's division, and they have their own little presidents of their little areas, and you have their bios.
And right now they say, please pardon us while we're loading the bios in. It's going to take a minute on their website. But what they say on the Facebook page, which is a live, active interaction.
So here they said that they do not have it. They're not web developers, and they're spending times on shift on the ambulance, and they'll be adding their bios shortly.
You're not a web developer. Wix, man.
Yeah.
Wait, you put up documents. A bio is a document. You put up these pages. You can't type out the documents. This is a modern word. You can't put it in the about section of Facebook. Just a quick who you are and what you do.
Here's somebody else that responded to them. I thought the only people who wrote manifestos anymore were serial killers.
See, that was my thought.
This is absolute trash, and my partner and myself are currently gagging down the rambling nonsense. Do you actually work in EMS? Do you really have a clue how it works? Are you aware that there are a shortage of paramedics
Did you post
nationally?
this, Tom?
No, this is somebody else. Due to the fact of the scum in Columbus, Ohio, we all, you know who the scum in Columbus, Ohio is, right? That's the National Registry.
Oh, registry. Okay.
We all know as the National Registry has jacked the price of the program to $10,000. Hey, Justin, were you listening to me? You are forced to pay out of pocket if you aren't fortunate enough to work for a service that will pay for it. Back to the trash festo. How can you say we need to be self-regulated, but in the same paragraph we say we need state regulates? That's like saying you want to party without your parents, but you have neighbors chaperone. Can't even take you seriously. And then they responded back and says, I'm responding to you from the front seat of my ambulance. Yes, we are experienced paramedics. You have misread what we wrote, but that's okay. You've already decided you disagree with us, and that's fine. We're not trying to change your mind.
So answer.
Yeah.
Because you're not answering this person. You're answering people like Tom who's digging through your stream looking for a reason to change their mind.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you don't like me? I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to say anything.
That's what people who can't defend their position always do. Right. Well, you've made up your mind. I'm not going to talk to you. I had an interaction with a person the other day that had to deal with my kid, and I flat out said, I saw what you did. I saw how you did it. It did not go unnoticed. I'm still going to let this happen, but you need to understand that was inappropriate and not the way to do it. And laid out facts, laid out a direct. Now, the guy did attack him, the first guy, about this crap festo or whatever they called it. Yeah, you're punching. Okay, you're punching. But you got to understand in social media, and this is the other problem I have. You got all these people on the board. You can't get one person who knows how Facebook works. Because what the answer is you're not answering that person. You're answering all the other people who are looking for the same answer, change their minds. And they didn't do that. But that's what I got from this other person. It's like, well, if you just don't ever want to be a part of this again, it's like, you didn't address one single point I sent to you about your behavior, your actions that you took that were negative and that were unarguably wrong. You didn't address any points, American paramedics, on what they were saying. You just went, well, if you just want to be part of it, screw up. That's what people who are weak, who cannot defend their position, who have no points to actually stand on, that's what they do. That's what they do. Megan says that she tried to search their info on the website and it looks like they have a mailing address in Ontario, Canada. So I don't know. That would be interesting. Now, I mean, it'd be interesting the fact that really. So here's in the same area. One last story we want to touch on, and we're not going to go through the whole thing, but to balance this, right? We want. Let me get it set back right. I don't have it set correctly here. Okay, so we've got this story. Dang it, I messed up. All right, I'll get back to that. This is on March 28th, so not that long ago, a week or two ago, from EMS1.com, right? People who have their pulses on it. Out of Toledo, Ohio, ambulance service faces national paramedic shortage. And they're talking about how all through their area, they have a shortage of ambulances. The number of students graduating from paramedic training in the state has dropped from 12,000 per year. Now, this is in the state of Ohio, where who runs it? National Registry, right? They've dropped from 12,000 paramedics a year to 250 over 3 years. They dropped to 250.
That's
a year.
And that's why I'm so against accreditation.
And they're not trained any different. It's not like they can operate at a doctor level or a PA level or something above paramedic. Right? They're not trained any differently than I am, all things being equal. Right? I know some states actually do a little different than the others. I'm not nitpicking that. But I'm saying if all things were equal, and I went to a trade school, in fact, I got National Registry, if I had my National Registry medic active, and I went to Ohio, I could apply, get a job without a bachelor's degree. But they're only graduating 250 a year?
Right here, they've got, I like this guy. I get the impression from your post that you feel that you can't advocate if you don't have a degree. A person that has decades in the EMS field and maturity certainly has valuable experience and can be an advocate in the field just as well or better than a 22-year-old that has a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like most of this is that. But also, I was looking through here because at one time, and the reason why I was trying to look through here, because when I first read this, there was a post on here where somebody had said, hey, what are your qualifications? Who are you? And they've changed the response, because the response that was initially there was basically, I assure you that we've all been working in the field and we are all qualified to do this. And that's all it said. And now they've actually made some changes in here. So
somebody went, hey, don't be a jerk. Go answer them. And they did. But to that article standpoint, the heart of the article is originally some of the shortage was pay. I mean, they were making, in 2017, EMTs, and it just says EMTs, so I don't know what that covers exactly. That could be basics. That could be advanced. That could be intermediates. That could be medics. It's just EMTs. Made about $15.56 an hour, which is about $32,000 a year. Okay, that's according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. That same year, Ohio, the average wage for paramedics was $31,000. So Michigan, so I guess it is EMT, the entry level. Mm-hmm. So Michigan, the entry level made $32,000, and in Ohio, paramedics made $31,000. But now, some counties, this particular county has said that their starting pay for paramedics is $17 an hour. And this is not on a 24-hour truck, I don't imagine. Because at 17 an hour, 24 hour, I mean, you make a lot more than that. But it says not the job market. But no, what happened was the job market was crap when they decided to jack up the accreditation and how much you had to go through to get it. So why am I going to spend, you said $10,000, I don't know how much it is. So why am I going to spend $10,000? By the way, I didn't pay for my medic school because I guarantee you if I had to pay for my school, I could not have gone. I got Hope Scholarship for both intermediate and paramedic, and it got paid for. But it wasn't. It was like $4,000 and $6,000 respectively. But I couldn't have done it if I had to pay that out of pocket. There's no way I'd have been a medic today. But $10,000 without a scholarship to make $31,000 a year. I'm going to pay a third of my first year's salary to get an education to fight for a job. So what happened was the pay went up, but then the affordability of going to school went down, and those 250 people did the pay go up, Tom, because it dropped? I mean, was the pay already going up? Because we don't have those statistics, but it's like you shot yourself in the foot, Ohio, and you're having to recover. How many counties have how many services you ever worked for, or saw or interacted with that ultimately today are failing or gone because they did not grasp that concept of you have to balance the pay with what you're demanding.
Right.
Honestly, I think companies currently, my iteration of AMR, right, is in the current iteration, and it's here in DeKalb County only. So I know it's probably different across the nation, whatever. But what my experience has been, I think companies like that do it correctly. Here's what on the inside, what I saw was starting pay for medics is really good. It's something that if I was a medic, I could be proud of if I was going to go do that job because it's demanding. Mm-hmm. They had to put up, they went from 30-something trucks to 50-something trucks. So the job's demanding of people and time and energy. I saw some of it myself firsthand. But then what they do is when they have a short, they offer bonuses, essentially. Mm-hmm. Like we will, and literally it goes out in the text. No dancing around. No, you have to understand this. We will pay you $100 extra on top of your hourly rate if you'll come in and work this shift tonight or tomorrow. That's what they do. That's what I've been personally fighting. That's my manifesto. F you, pay me. You want me to do the job? Pay me for it. And right. I still will speak highly of my time with National. I don't agree with everything they did. And they certainly never paid me what I was worth at the time. They paid well under market. I could have left, but I felt like at the time what I needed was that training, that shaping, that patience that it took for me to become a better human being and a better paramedic. And then once I got to that point, ultimately I left, grateful to them for the time they spent on me, but I couldn't put food on my table.
Right.
And now their pay is more competitive. From what I understand, this is definitely at least 10 years ago, if not longer. But Jasper County, if it wasn't a county, that service would be dead because they don't pay, they don't support you. Right. Well, I'm still talking about from my personal experience, so it could have changed. I doubt it because I know who the commissioners are, but it could have. And we know that's the problem. And it all comes back to what did you start this whole thing out with? It comes down to money. Are you going to show up and work for free? I'm not. Just not.
We shouldn't expect it.
No.
Unless you're working for a volunteer service.
And even then,
throughout the country, there are volunteer services, and thank you for our volunteers.
Absolutely. But I saw, this was a little while back, it was on Facebook, but I saw a semi-documentary on that somewhere up north where the guy was talking about during the day it's really, really tough because the other volunteers are at their paying jobs, and he's the only one that can respond. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to leave your job because they will fire you to go be a volunteer. So you're forced into that balance of I want to help my community, but I want to put food on my table.
Right.
And that all right, you write a manifesto and be a group of how do we make equal pay for equal work? Oh, that's a union manifesto. Oh, that's a equal rights manifesto. That's a human thing of.
Right. But there's nothing wrong because you're not saying that, we need to force employers to pay more. No. Maybe a manifesto for that is, hey, let's figure out how to get better reimbursement and actually do a service or provide a service that we can get paid more for.
That's how capitalism actually works to me. Mm-hmm. Is, okay, if I put in the effort, as I have here, I put in effort to figure out how to bring in more money for the school, which if you want to be a jackass about it, for Tom, how do I bring in more money for Tom? Because that's how people look at corporations, right? Well, it's the president. It's his, how do I bring in more? Well, if I bring in more money for them, what they should do, as Tom does, is bring me more money. It's a give and take. Now, he should keep the line. I think he should keep the line share. I've seen how he works. I think anybody at the top, until you're at the top, you have a very difficult time understanding what it's like to be there. And not everybody at the top deserves to be there. Some of these fly-by-night companies are crap. What should happen is I bring in more money and I get more money. But if I'm bringing in more money and I'm not, and that was my biggest problem with Jasper County, literally was we bailed out like $5 million that they got. It wasn't we built it and they didn't get it. They got $5 million to the county from EMS billing, and we were a 911 only service.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how much they got. You know what the budget was the year I quit? $1.4 million. That was it. And we were struggling to make it on that. And that was, we couldn't hire anybody. We couldn't buy any trucks. We couldn't buy any gear. That was basically payroll, insurance,
But you were
and a little bit.
you were almost making the same amount of money as they were getting on tax.
Yeah. I was literally making $10.25 an hour as a medic, leading the charge, out there. That's the problem. And that's not how that should work. And that's, we'll get into a whole other topic, but I hope we helped at least open your eyes to think about how things are done. If you want to tag them with this video to the American, let them see it. That's change our minds. Give us something real.
Give us something.
Because you're full of crap right now. All right, then that's a good question by Barb, but that's going to take us in a whole long discussion. We've already done an hour and a half here. So let's talk about what's going on. Actually, I can pull it up right here. And that way you can see it on the screen. We've got new stuff going on here at Georgia Institute of EMS. 16-week EMT program will be starting. All these classes start May 16th. The 16-week will meet 2 nights a week. And we've already got 3 signups for that. We've got 3 registrations already. And they all 3 of them reserved their seats.
For the 16 week?
For the 16 week.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So that's going to be going starting in May. We've got a 5-week program starting in May that is right here. It's a nice, cool, animated, colorified picture that you took, Tom.
Yay.
And that will meet 5 days a week. It's really for the college students who are in break, but anybody can take it, but that's what it's designed for.
If you're going
8
to,
hours.
you need to know that you're going to be here every day of the week, and you're going to be doing clinicals on the weekend, and when you go home, you're going to be studying, and if you've got to make the standard. So it is a lot of work to get through, but this is targeted towards mainly the pre-PA, nursing, pre-med students who are wanting to knock it out real fast. But we have people. Anybody who does it as well is welcome to do it. Just know that you can't have a job when you're doing this. And the reason why I say it's targeted towards the pre-PA nursing, because they're college students. They're off for the summer. It's not saying that other people can't do it. The only reason other people wouldn't be able to do it is because of jobs and stuff like that. So this is your job. This is your life for 5 weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, literally, it's 5 weeks.
And we have a high success rate with it. So it is, we are on you, helping you through and understand everything every day of the week. So this is not our online program. This is in class. You're in front of an instructor every day.
Yeah.
All day. And if you miss, and if you've got a vacation or something scheduled and you can't be there, it's not the program. You got to be there.
Yeah, there's no missing. I think last year you had a guy miss 1 day, and you made him sign a letter saying, you missed a big day. Yep. You're going to have to make it up. And he did. I think
he did make it up.
I don't have the numbers. Did everybody pass?
I think everybody but one. And I don't think they took the test yet.
You don't think
I don't even
you still have 2
it.
years after you graduate to take the test. So.
But they were wanting it for the academic stuff.
They may not get set up. So basically, everybody who took it passed. Mm-hmm. See, now that's awesome. Then, right here, we got the 10-week EMT class, and it'll meet 2 days a week. So if you can't do the 5 days, right, it's just too much. I need a job. I still need to be able, but I do have some time during the day. This will meet 2 days a week. Same idea. You're here 8 hours, but you'll have more days to do the homework, more days to do your clinicals.
And if you've got a job in between, you can do that. But you got to be there those 2 days. Yeah.
And then, of course, the 16 is the 2 nights a week. That's that standard. If you come for 4 hours a night, if you have a job during the day type of deal. Or, if you work at night, this 10-week class might work for you. If you got not overnights. Overnights are going to be tough. I'll give you that. I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about I go to work at 6 or 7 p.m. Then this is the class for you because we're done. We try to be done by 6, but sometimes we're done a little bit earlier, sometimes a little later. But basically, work with a night job schedule where you can come
Maybe.
during the day.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, we don't know your schedule. And then, as always, we have flex plans for those who just cannot manage to get to class, but you want this job, you want to change your career. We've got flex
We got
plans
it for you.
available, and the flex is all about how your schedule works and how it works for you. Anything else, Tom, that
No.
you want to throw out?
Thank everybody for being there for us today.
Yeah, it's been a good talk. Thank you
Hope I didn't
for
stir the pot too much.
That's a lie. You hope we started a lot because that's what you like to do. I know I get passionate about it because I was that guy who so quickly got into take the man down because I didn't fully understand how business worked. Also, I mean, I wasn't getting paid fairly in some of my jobs either, but I would have jumped on this. Yeah, self-policing, but I've matured. And I love that whoever commented said, with anybody with experience and maturity would know what you've written here is full of crap. And that's the thing is as you become mature, you don't get paid unless the boss gets paid.
All right.
That's life. If there is no money, how they're going to give you money, So, all right, we're going to get out of here. Check us out again next week, Friday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking about some more stuff, stirring some more pots, and hopefully getting you fired up to get out there and do your job to the best of your ability.